Hi there! Today, we're diving into the ancient and mysterious world of sumo. The facts will amaze you, but can you tell which are true and which are false? Sumo tournaments are already taking place all over the world. Amateur tournaments, however, can be held anywhere in the world, but professional tournaments can only be held in Japan. Sumo applicants are only taken by obese boys who are significantly overweight compared to their peers. It's funny, but at the initial stages of training, fighters must not only have excellent fitness, but also shed all the excess fat. A sumo fighter gains working weight only after he has gained enough muscle mass and strength. Sumo wrestlers have a very rigid routine. Rise with the first rays of the sun, morning toilet, then on an empty stomach begins a grueling 5-hour workout. Compared to the average Japanese, sumo wrestlers are very large. The biceps and triceps of sumo wrestlers are comparable in volume to the leg of a normal person. Despite their solid weight, some sumo wrestlers can boast a pretty good stretch. Despite their size and excess weight, all sumo wrestlers are very flexible, and stretching is an important part of their training. Every professional fighter can do the twine. Before important fights, wrestlers perform a very strange ritual. A sumo wrestler drinks fresh turtle blood to get more strength. The turtle's head is cut off while it is still alive. The blood is poured into a glass, ice is added, and the wrestler drinks it all. Wrestlers only eat 2 meals a day. It's true. Fighters skip breakfast. It allows them to slow down their metabolism a bit and build up an appetite closer to lunchtime. Wrestlers eat only twice a day, but each meal weighs about 10,000 calories, so in a day sumo wrestlers consume up to 20,000 calories. Injuries are a common occurrence in sumo. Of course, because the starting contact is a collision between 2 massive wrestlers at 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. The weakest body parts of sumo wrestlers are considered to be the elbows, knees, back, ankles, neck, and fingers. In sumo, it is customary to show emotions vigorously to keep the spectators interested. No emotions. A fighter who shows his pain, for example, should immediately be disqualified. As a reminder, tearing ligaments during a fight is a regular occurrence, and it's very painful. Sumo is wrestling. You can't hit with your fists or feet, but there's a trick to it. In sumo, you may only hit with an open palm. The eye and genital area is untouchable. Imagine the power of a slap from an athlete like that, though. Fighters are forbidden to grab the opponent's hair, fingers, ears, as well as the genital covering part of the mawashi, bandage. Sumo wrestlers, on the other hand, often use thrusts, throws, underhooks, and underhooks. Would you say it's a good idea to rinse off after a rigorous physical workout? Well, wrestlers do have to take a hot bath, but you can't touch the hair. That's the rules. During training and competition, wrestlers wear special loincloths called mawashi. They are something like diapers, made of cotton, canvas, or silk, depending on the rank of the sumo wrestler. According to centuries-old samurai traditions, mawashi are never washed. Instead, they are unwrapped and dried in the sun after use. In professional sumo, women are traditionally prohibited from participating in competitions and ceremonies. Women's sumo competitions have been officially organized again since 1997, but only at different venues from the men. The rules are almost the same as in the men's version. The only differences are that the female athletes wear swimsuits under their mawashi and the bouts last 3 minutes instead of 5. It's simple. The winner of the fight is the athlete who was able to push the opponent out of the court. Not only that, there is another condition, making the opponent touch the surface with any part of the body except the feet. It is interesting, by the way, that a sumo bout can end if one of the fighters loses his mawashi, in which case he will be disqualified. Almost all sumo fights are very similar to each other. Sumo is very dynamic. Wrestlers need to think fast. In 10 seconds, this is the standard duration of a fight. A wrestler can change tactics 2 to 3 times. Only a Japanese can become a sumo wrestler. Not necessarily. For example, this is the legendary Estonian sumo wrestler Kaido Hevelson, who competed in Japan under the name Baruto. Foreigners can train and even compete in professional fights in Japan, but each of the 45 teams can only take one foreigner at a time. Sumo wrestlers make good money. The average salary for a major league wrestler is over $60,000 per month. The sumoist sleep procedure has its own peculiarity. Quite often, sumo athletes sleep with masks on. It is easier to breathe after a large and high-calorie meal. Hairstyle is of utmost importance, and hair is given close attention. Each wrestler grows their hair long to about the middle of their back. Then the barber does the traditional hairstyle, smoothing the hair upward with sweet-scented oil. And no shampoos. Sumo wrestlers don't ride in cars because they can't get into them. Not because. Fighters are forbidden to drive cars, so the most successful ones have personal drivers. The rest have to make do with public transportation. And for trying to drive, huge chance of getting disqualified. So if you find yourself in the Japanese subway and see a large man in a bathrobe, don't be frightened. It's just a sumo wrestler. Wrestlers live considerably longer than their fellow countrymen thanks to increased sports activities. The average life expectancy of a sumo wrestler is 60 to 65 years, which is about 10 years less than the average Japanese. Sumo is quite popular traditional martial arts in Japan. Athletes are loved by children, respected by adults. It's true, often sumo wrestlers' routines include an item, such as socializing with fans. They are part of Japanese culture, kind and important giants who often participate in religious and holiday ceremonies as first responders. It turns out that bringing toddlers to tears is a long-standing Japanese tradition that dates back more than 4 centuries. In Japan, there is a belief that crying baby scares away evil spirits, and children who cried a lot in infancy will grow up healthy and lucky. Every year, a festival is held in Tokyo to hear the cries of small children. Sumo wrestlers take children who are under a year old in their arms and start screaming and grimacing. Needless to say, such actions horrify the young contestants. Hi there! Today, we're diving into the ancient and mysterious world of sumo. The facts will amaze you, but can you tell which are true and which are false?